Indigenous women be the illest chicks, and I'm talking that realness. And don't slip when I spit, get a grip of this, don't diss these chicks, respect our bliss, cause we the illest chicks.
I'm hoping that with the curriculum piece that whoever picks it up is able to teach about spoken word and teach about healthy living in a way that reflects Haudenosaunee values and principles and ways of existence and being in the world.
And we're built to provide you with everything that you need to succeed, built to feed the coming seeds. And we never get a moment to breathe, cause we're the givers of life, fire of the fight, protectors of the land, leaders of the clan, enforcing the plan. We will withstand the struggle while surrounded in the rubble. We won't ever be in trouble, long as women lead in the struggle.
I need to learn something before I can write it. Like, I won't write about anything unless it's a lesson or an opinion that is like something that I can stand by.
I rock this mohawk, cause I'm a warrior. And we don't fight with Glocks, and it ain't only those with jocks that rocks the battlefields. And as my pretty pink polished toes hit the ground of the war zone, I realize that I am home. I wake up every morning and step out onto this battlefield of
I think
life.
it's something that I've always done because I've been doing workshops as long as I've been performing. I think I've spent so much time out in the community, out doing like all of these things, and I've had so many like amazing opportunities and done so much community work. But I think I've realized that the greatest community work that I'm ever going to do and my greatest contribution to the community is my children and my family.
Represent. You know, it's a pandemic, we gotta fight it.
I miss my fam who was taken by the sway, lost their toes and lost their legs, then they passed away dead. It's probably in the blood, running through the veins. So if I don't change, then I'll be gone the same way, the same way, the same way.
Diabetes is a problem that affects us all. We gotta educate our youth just to let them all know. We know that there ain't no cure for this disease. The only thing that we can do is educate our community. We need unity, sobriety to make it through these days. Natives dying, mothers crying just because.
I think movements, if you look back in history, like all political movements take time to build. And this one is no different. And I think like we're really getting at a place where we're growing. You know, we go into communities, people know that we're coming into their communities, they're waiting for us, they're excited that we're going to be there, and it's just growing and growing and growing.
She's hustling her education, seeking that mental stimulation, trying to live with good vibration, and so many people hating, but she keeping her motivation because she's one of them illest chicks. And grandmama's husband died, left her with nobody to provide. For her and her 6 kids, she had a grade A education, and it's my observation that diabetes been chasing her health, trying to steal her wealth. She went blind and never asked for help. She's infected from her head to her feet, but when she sits in that rocking seat, knowledge flows when she speaks, cause she's one of them illest chicks. Thank you.
With the curriculum piece, I think like making sure that it's culturally connected and appropriate. That's one thing that I think is one of the greatest challenges about this project, is because you can't teach sincerity and you can't teach someone to be genuine. But I think setting the curriculum up, like I always say, the only thing that makes a good facilitator is having the proper questions. You don't have to have the answers to anything to be a good facilitator. All you have to have is really good questions to present to the people that you're presenting to, and have them deliver the answers, because it's not about getting up there and saying, I know this, I know that, and like dropping all of the information on them. It's asking the questions and having them think about it and come up with their own ideas. My intention and my hopes is that the participants will feel empowered and inspired to do something, whether it's directly linked to health or if it ends up branching out into something else, but that it takes whatever form that it needs to take.
So here we are in the midst of the editing process with the film crew. We got one guy working on a commercial over here. We got another group here editing straight up. And there was also guys in the back room doing music. So we're going hard and heavy. What's going on here? Working with young people is, it's difficult at times because sometimes they got a lot of their own problems, or they got things that they want, and they have a lot of energy. So the difficult part with that is to get all that energy and put it into one thing. You know, channel it into something, make that energy turn into something. Back when I was younger growing up, that's the same way. I mean, there was nothing really for us to do on the reserves, so we had to make our own fun, make our own movies, make our own, play outside stuff. I think a lot of kids don't do that nowadays.
I'm a mind-styled man, I'm not repping the streets, I'm representing people living in poverty, because all the people out there, they're looking at me like, holy jeez, he's just smoking on this mic without smoking dope, without smoking Nikes or cheap stuff. I'm just rocking some new shoes on my feet, yes, I got a freak stuff with this freestyle meth I express. Me and Henny Jack up in the mix, we get it fresh non-stop, that's how we do, yeah.
Yo, 1, 2, 3. Sitting bull on my T. I'm a real MC. Watch how I be when I FREE do a the
Back in the day, I was all about rebelling against society. Like, I thought, I'm not going to be like what they tell me to be. I'm going to be different. I don't want to do that. But then I realized, I was a product of society. I was, living on reserve. I didn't have any education. I didn't have any, I was on drugs. I was doing all this stuff. So I was actually a sellout, in a sense. So when I quit all that stuff and started focusing right on culture, focusing on youth, focusing on all these things, that's when I truly became cool or something. I started working with Spark, and they asked me to come in and help film what was going on, like film some of the activities. This type of work in this type of field, a lot of action takes place. You got to be on the ground, you got to be filming, you got to be wherever. And you gotta make time to put it together later and edit it.
Thanks, boys.
Yeah, mama.
See you soon.
I think everybody has a gift. We're all born with gifts. Some people are good at talking, some people are good at acting, some people are good at guitar, we all have gifts. And once we figure out what that gift is, and once we start to use that gift and give it to other people, we start to really hone in on that. Like with me in filmmaking, it combined all the different things that I enjoyed. It combined drawing, it combined running around, being active, it combined story, photography, pictures. So it's taking all the things I really enjoy, and it's putting them all together in one. I think that's the biggest thing for these kids, is to find out what their gift is and to realize that they have gifts, that they're gifted, and that they're special people.
Soft drinks!
Where's Sugar Bear have to be so cool? I know, right? It feels like good candy.
My mom and dad are getting sick from a lot of the things that they were doing while they were young, so they're trying to they're now trying to get healthy, like after all these years of putting junk in their bodies, and they're just now feeling the effects of it. And they're still young too, kind of. They pretty much, they both have diabetes, and yeah, there's a couple other things too. My mom's going through dialysis because their kidneys are shutting down. Just got to get a transplant soon.
So you think knowing more information about the stuff we're eating will help young people, right?
Mm-hmm. Live a longer life, because my mom, she's still pretty young. She's about only 20 years older than I am. So pretty much I'm halfway done my life if I keep eating the way I do and everything else.
So what are you eating now? Like,
pretty much the same thing everybody else is: pop, chips, chocolate bars, everything else, whatever I can get my hands on.
do you think that has something to do with the economy within First Nations reserves? Like that we, or is it just a general attitude?
I don't know. It has a lot to do with both. Like what do you go to what do you go for the store for, right? Like pop and chips, right? What else is there? There's no supermarkets on the res where you can get healthy foods. So
it's kind of like the snacking, right?
yeah, it's a snacking thing.
Snack program.
Yeah.
So I guess you're kind of fighting against that through this film, right?
Yeah.
Human beings are the only species that drinks milk from another species. I'll say that again. Human beings, which is us, are the only species, which is the only thing on Earth, that drinks milk from another species. Okay, that's good. So a lot of everything is with this white flour. Now, what do you think is so unhealthy about this white flour? We call it processed. What does that mean?
It's processed like it's been through a factory, and like it's like they've changed the stuff and made it unhealthy. Like normal cheese is healthy, but the processed cheese is almost plastic.
Like the processed is changing that one food so many times until it becomes something else so much. And this white flour, at one point in time, yes, it was very healthy because it was a whole food. But with as much processing as went through it, it's not healthy anymore. Now what's flour? And we'll add a little bit of water to it. That's good. What is that? Flour and water. I'm sure maybe in your art classes you've made some pretty cool stuff with it. What is it? Yes. Clay? Close. Paper mache. Yes. Right? So flour and water is glue. So then we add a little bit of sugar. You want to add our salt?
Sure.
And then if I had butter, I would put butter in there. So there's our breakfast. Because even though we might not put salt in our cereal, salt is still in our cereal. If you read the label and you look beside the sodium. So this is what our stomach looks like. So I'm going to stop around here. I'm just going to pull it around. Now, which one would you rather eat? Which one is food with spirit? Don't be tricked by the tricksters, is what we say.
Yeah.
This is the trickster.
What do you mean? What's with the What's it with the fruit?
Those are natural. Those are grown in the
Yeah.
ground.
Which one has life? Which one has spirit? This one. No.
This one, because it's born in the ground. This one.
Food and healthy activity are crucial, and every day that's actually tied right into our rights, like as human beings, like clean water, healthy food. These are rights. Like those are things that we're giving up right now, and it's like we're entitled to that. Anybody should be. It doesn't matter who you are or where nation you're from or culture. I think we all need that. When you live in the city and when you live, when you're going to the grocery store and when you're doing all this stuff, it's like constant. It's like food almost becomes fuel inside of the city system. It's kind of strange. It's just like you just buy it and you eat it and then you move on, and there's no real connection because I don't think you don't see it. You don't see gardens, you don't see farms, you don't see, the dirt where it's coming from. I garden now, and I'm trying to plant seeds that will grow again, and I'm trying to, learn to cook and learn to hunt, do all these things that we need to start to learn. Not just because, it's the big thing that the elders tell us and this and that. It's like, it's because I want to know. Like, I really want to know this stuff. Would you say that you eat healthy, or would you say that you just eat what everybody else eats?
I just eat whatever I eat.
Jerry! Do you think your perceptions changed as a result of going through some of this stuff?
Probably not.
No, and you're going to go back to eating junk food?
Not.
Like a burger. You've seen that burger, right?
I hardly eat junk food anyways.
Has this film at all changed your perception on eating right? Healthy?
Yeah.
What did that for you?
I don't know. It was the burger in the movie.
Take a look at this. Take a look at this. Inside my gym bag right here, I happen to have a 2.5-year-old Big Mac. That's got 7 teaspoons of fat.
Explain what happened. Just tell us the story.
Alright, I went to McDonald's and I didn't really want anything. My friends wanted something, so I bought large fry and a burger. I sat down, I looked at my tray, and I seen all that fat. And I was just like, no, I'm gonna stop eating McDonald's.
The main focus for me is getting the curriculum done and putting it in a package so people can start to use it to talk about healthy food and talk about healthy living. And from there they can shape it around the things that they wanted to do. That's what I hope with the curriculum, is that it's simple enough where somebody can just pick it up and start rolling, start making movies with it.
He's quiet when he's not on stage. He's a thinker. I remember when he got his Ganyangeha name at the last naming ceremony, and his name means he is observant, and it's like, yeah, that so totally fits him perfectly because he's just always watching and deep in thought.
All right, let's warm up. Hip hop. It might stop if you hold it down like that. Hip hop. Won't stop. Yeah, hip hop. Won't stop. Hip hop. Won't stop. Hip hop. Won't stop. When I say Walpoo, you say island. Walpoo. Island. Walpoo. Island. Walpoo. Island. 6. Nation. 6. Nation. 6. Nation. Walpoo. Walpoo, 6, hip hop, hip hop. All right, on the counter.
My name is John Henhock, my English name. My Ungahoi name is Deha Kanale, and that means he is observing, he is a witness. Working with Restore Pride, I would say that one thing that goes to my mind is I always try to look at what I'm doing. And I always want to make sure that I'm being honest and not trying to portray that I'm perfect and I'm Mr. Health and I do all the right things and I make all the right choices, because that's not true. I'm aware that if we want to talk about diabetes and obesity and that it's a serious issue, but just to know that isn't gonna solve the problem, because there's a lot of barriers in the communities that make it so hard to be healthy, right? So when I go up when I'm asked to to do a show or something, that's something that I want to ensure is that I'm being honest. My curriculum, it's what people would call like the orthography of Kanikeha, the orthography of the Mohawk language, and what that is just it'd be like studying the alphabet. It's the alphabet of the Mohawk language.
Of all my years in teaching and being involved in the language, I thought, this is the first time I've seen this, where there's so many young people and they're all eager to learn. Before I started to teach, I used to say that we should be proud of who we are, and we should be proud that we do have a language. And I think, when you take pride in that, when you take pride in the language, pride in your culture, you grow spiritually.
People who are really in touch with the language, like elders, they know that we have to make that connection with youth. We have to find ways to inspire them, to make them say, oh wow, this is my language, I need to pick it up. And we can't be too picky on what we're going to be doing and how we're going to do that. We can't be like, oh well, that's not our way and we shouldn't do that, and because of this or because of that. Like I what I'm trying to say is that if it's going to inspire the youth to learn the language, then why not? Why not do it?
Clap your hands, y'all. Clap your hands, y'all. Clap your hands, y'all. Clap your hands, y'all.
Hip hop in the language. Yeah, hip hop in the language. I would like to be able to put those together one day. Because that's one thing I do is I'll put on an instrumental and I'll just say words over and over, to the beat, and it really helps me, right? And then I find myself, I guess, like kind of writing a song, because I can put on a beat and start kicking some stuff, It's not like a full track or anything, but it's helping me, right? People say that, if you sing the language and put like a melody to it, it helps, right? And I would say that my personal opinion with hip hop and the language would be that it's something that's would be very useful and effective to try and influence and inspire the younger generations to try to pick up the language.
Our young people are searching. They're searching. Mm-hmm. They're searching their identity, and your identity is your language. That's what identifies you as for us Oneida, and you as Mohawk.
Yeah.
And I think that's what where a lot of these young people are now. They're searching and they want to know their culture. They know they're a native person, but there's other things that come with being native. Mm. And that's the language and knowing the culture.
Growing up, I just knew I was native. Like that's nothing, right? I didn't really know what that was. People be like, "Oh, you're native." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm native." And didn't really have an identity, right? But now, like learning the language and the stories and the social songs and the dances and the history, like I know I'm learning who I am. I'm being tied to my roots, and I feel like spiritually it's making me stronger. So I think for youth to understand the importance of that if this generation doesn't pick it up, our languages, they will be gone.
Wakwarita hunji takagure rodo hahare nene aoriwa jito hanunya kwe. Wakwarita hunji wachi lasatste nene aoriwa jito hanunya kwe. Sego se wakwego ni wakwarita ni yungyats kontegi ni do ageno wakskarewa gane magito lodo jogo de garano de jina hoda katswada kadari wa yanste jina hoda wagyotos joto yawore to ni de wagyo joto ni kwajira oniji dega dasja wagatka wejiga sogwas nega yon kwakso Oruni de galon hyodo aseka angiheye dano ne oriwa chiwaga derano de yo kwanja wano nekshi goyon wedazas oneka waton chada chio kwanja gwego nekshi ongweda di nyaron darox sekine ene kundirio radizere chini hodiri hodos onaki nua skana akana tanyo we dano ne oriwa chiwaga derano de Wakwarita hunji loda karite nene aoriwa ji to hanunya kwe lo ni go bio chate wani sarage